What if the love you thought you knew in someone was more powerful than you ever imagined? Sometimes it's the moments we don't see that show us the true depth of a person's heart. Amanda couldn't help but feel uneasy leaving her baby at home with her husband, and when she finally decided to check in, what she saw on the hidden camera left her speechless. Before we get into this incredible story of trust and love, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Trust me, this one will touch you in ways you don't expect, and you won't want to miss any future stories like this. Amanda's life looked perfect on the outside. She was a dedicated mother, a high-profile journalist, and the wife of her high school sweetheart, Sam. She and Sam had been inseparable since they were teenagers, navigating life's ups and downs together. Nearly 10 years into their marriage, they welcomed a baby boy, Xavier, who brought them more joy than they could have ever imagined. But sometimes, life throws unexpected curveballs, and Amanda was about to discover something that would challenge everything she thought she knew. Life changed dramatically for them after Xavier was born. Amanda, who had always been career-focused, wanted to keep working to secure their family's future. As much as it broke her heart, staying home with Xavier wasn't an option, and her career was also something she'd worked tirelessly to build. Sam, a musician who had spent most of his career on the road, offered to step up. They'd talked it over, shedding a few tears and sharing a few laughs, and decided he'd stay home to look after Xavier. But as time went on, Amanda noticed subtle changes in Sam. His once bright demeanor seemed to dim a bit. If Xavier cried at night, he didn't always get up to check on him, leaving Amanda to do it more often. When she asked him about it, he seemed indifferent, sometimes insisting she was the one who should handle it. She began to question if Sam was beginning to regret their arrangement. Every time she left for work, anxiety gnawed at her. What worried her most were the small details she noticed in the evenings. Whenever she came home, the living room was always immaculate. There wasn't a single toy or item out of place, almost as if Xavier hadn't been playing at all. So was Sam simply avoiding spending time with their son? She felt her heart sink at the thought. How could she truly know what was happening during the hours she was gone? Her mind began to spiral, wondering if he was disengaging out of frustration. They discussed how he felt about the career shift, but was he hiding his true feelings? Despite his assurance that everything was fine, Amanda's gut told her otherwise. Finally, she decided to take a step she never thought she would. She bought a small spy camera, disguised to blend in seamlessly with their living room decor. She told herself it was just for peace of mind, that she needed to know if her husband was really there for their son. The next morning, Amanda set up the camera before she left for work. As she walked out the door, she couldn't help but feel a mix of guilt and relief. During her lunch break that day, Amanda could hardly focus on her work. Her hands shook as she opened her laptop and logged into the camera app. She took a deep breath, bracing herself for what she might find. She was prepared for the worst. An empty room, Sam scrolling on his phone, maybe Xavier crying in the background without being attended to. But what she saw changed everything. The footage began with Xavier sitting on the living room floor, surrounded by his toys. Amanda held her breath as Sam walked into the frame. He knelt down beside Xavier and, to her surprise, he was smiling, radiating warmth and patience that took Amanda by surprise. Sam started picking up toys and showing them to Xavier one by one. Amanda couldn't help but smile as she watched her husband's face light up every time Xavier giggled or babbled. For the next hour, she was glued to her screen, captivated by the tenderness she saw in her husband's every action. Sam played with Xavier in ways she had never seen before, using different toys guiding him, and even making little animal noises that made Xavier squeal with laughter. Every so often, Sam would clap his hands, encouraging Xavier to mimic his actions. He seemed completely engrossed in their playtime, fully present in a way Amanda hadn't expected. As the video continued, Amanda's eyes filled with tears. There was something extraordinary about the way Sam interacted with their son, something beyond simple fatherly duty. He was fully devoted, showing Xavier a kind of love that words could never capture. Sam didn't just play with their son, he taught him. When Xavier grew tired and started to fuss, Sam gently picked him up and rocked him back and forth until he calmed down. Amanda felt her heart swell with love and pride. Then, just as Xavier seemed to be drifting off to sleep, Sam gently laid him down on a blanket and quietly tied up the toys scattered around the room. Amanda's suspicion about the immaculate living room suddenly felt so silly. He wasn't neglecting their son, he was teaching him and himself about patience and peace. She watched as Sam made sure everything was in its place, even picking up stray crumbs from the floor. And when Xavier woke up, Sam resumed his playfulness, bringing out a toy drum and showing Xavier how to tap along. They were a perfect pair, laughing and playing without a care in the world. Amanda realized that Sam wasn't just fulfilling a role, he was fully embracing fatherhood, pouring his heart into every moment with their son. That evening, she decided to share the video with Sam. At first, he looked at her, surprised and a little concerned that she'd felt the need to install a camera. But as they watched the footage together, his expression softened and he chuckled at the son's antics. He reassured her that he'd never felt happier, that these moments with Xavier were the highlight of his day. He even thanked her for capturing it, saying it gave him a chance to reflect on what fatherhood meant to him. But encouraged by the raw beauty of what she'd seen, Amanda decided to share the video with their family. Her mother cried, her friends laughed, and within hours, people were sharing the video across social media. So it didn't take long before the world took notice. Comments and likes flooded in from strangers who found hope and inspiration in Sam's story, people who could relate to the unspoken love between a father and his child. They received messages from other parents who felt seen, fathers who felt encouraged, and people around the world who expressed gratitude for the reminder that the smallest moments could hold the greatest meaning. Amanda's heart overflowed as she read through the messages, realizing that her quiet act of setting up the camera had given her a window into a beautiful world of connection. But if you were moved by this story, take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories that reveal the love and kindness hidden in everyday life. Remember to share this video with anyone you think could use a reminder that sometimes love is found in the quiet, unassuming moments that we might otherwise miss. Amanda and Sam's story didn't just bring them closer as a family, it reminded them both of the beauty that lies in trusting and appreciating one another. Amanda learned to never again let her doubts cloud the reality of her husband's devotion, and Sam found that being present for his son gave him purpose in ways he had never anticipated. Through one hidden camera, Amanda discovered that the life she thought she had was even more magical than she could have dreamed. Sometimes it's in the unseen moments that we find the truest expressions of love, the kind that touch our hearts and the hearts of millions who believe in the power of family.